Marcel here.
Wes.
And welcome, that was the quickest introduction ever, to Trash Talk Arc 7. It's finally here.
Yay!
So, to kick off Trash Talk Arc 7, which is Return to Retro Games, we haven't done a Retro Games arc since like Arc 3. To reiterate real quick, seeing as we're talking about Arc 3, and that was the first Retro Games arc, that was, I think the timestamp was from 1980 to 2004. So like, basically, it was like NES era to like early / like mid-ish PS2, Xbox original, GameCube era. So for this arc, it's slightly offset a little bit, further later in the years. So like 1990 to about 2008. So we're excluding NES stuff, like super retro stuff, and we're doing more PS1, Dreamcast era, and 64 era to like early-ish PS3, Xbox 360, Wii era. So that's the general timestamp you can expect for games in this arc, essentially. So the first game I'm going over is pretty cool, and it is Jak and Daxter. Pretty cool game. I skipped this one as a kid, and a lot of people who know me as a platformer junkie will get upset at that. I've seen the ads and all that stuff, but for some reason, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, I skipped those as a kid, which is very odd. Oh, that's right, it's I swear, it always happens. It's fucking trash day again.
The irony is tantalizingly real.
We're leaving all that in too, by the way. I don't give a shit. So, yeah, very odd. But a couple of years ago, I don't remember how long. I mean, I was still a teenager. I got the collection right here, which we'll go over the box art and stuff later. This is the HD collection for the PS3 of the whole trilogy. But we're just going over the first game in this episode. And I like it a lot. So before we actually get into it, what did you kind of feel when you first played it?
Well, it was a pretty cool game, but we'll save that until later on.
You generally kind of liked it.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
It's not like you were like bored or like, okay, where am I going now? Like you had stuff to do.
More than anything, I was kind of making him a little bit mad. I'll get into why later on.
The game came out December 3rd, 01, strictly for PS2, except this PS3 version, from Naughty Dog, obviously. So right after Crash, actually during the development of CTR, of Crash Team Racing, they already had another idea for a new IP, and once they dropped Crash because of Universal and all that stuff, you should know that story by now, they went full-fledged to work on this new IP. So there's a lot of Crash influence in this game. Look at Daxter, obviously, so, but it's not anything that has to, stay tied to Crash or anything like that. Far from it, actually. This game actually is one of the first, you can argue, open world platformers, which is really, really cool. Story. Basically, I have to remember the story, because we were just fucking around and all that, so I'm trying to remember what I'll give a synopsis, really. So, it starts off, we don't know why they're going there, but Jak and Daxter are going to Misty Island against Samus's wishes, and Samus is one of the sages who protects the land and whatnot. And he kind of acts as their guardian in a way, in a way. So, again, don't know why they're going there, but they're going there and they're not supposed to, and they find the villains, Gull and Maya, and they're these two other, precursor-ish people, kind of, I might get that wrong, but they want to use dark eco, and eco is the substance of power in their world, essentially.
Yeah, it gives them electricity and pretty much is the basis of functioning in their world, I guess.
For the most part, it's used to run like power and stuff like that. You get powers, from using it. Color-coded, you only saw the blue one, and green, there's red and all that stuff later on.
Yeah.
And then there's Dark Eco. So they're using, which you never really interact with, at least in the first game, but they're trying to use Dark Eco essentially to rule the world. So when they find out about this, they try and leave before they get caught. But one enemy guy actually does catch them, but they beat him back. But then they fall, or at least Daxter falls into a vat of dark eco, and instead of killing him or whatever else, it turns him into what we know him as an Otzel, which is a weasel, and then oh god, what's it? An Otzel, an otter and a weasel. Sure, yeah, I think it's... Anyway, so,
I'll correct it right here.
yeah, so that happens, they go back and essentially just learn from Samus that, yes, they're trying to use this eco to take over the world, they have to stop them. It's kind of it's a basic plot, because, as it would have it, like Crash, Jak is much more gameplay driven than it is story driven, so, speaking of gameplay, let's get into that. So, what did you enjoy from the gameplay, and what can you tell audience peoples of the gameplay?
Oh, the gameplay is really, really cool. The camera controls were a little wonky at first, but I got used to them kind of quick. I guess it could just be they were trying to be a little bit more faithful to the controls back in those days, so...
It wasn't really a control scheme.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an earlier control scheme. We played it on the PlayStation 3, again, for that, so, I had a lot of fun. And then there's a lot of, and basically how it works is, you pretty much get 3 hits. If you get 50 of the green things while you're on full health, it pretty much access an extra hit you can take. 4 hits if you have that, and you're dead, pretty much. But it kind of starts you over at the level, and then it has you collecting stuff, and then it has you jumping stuff, and beating up enemies and all that. Beating up enemies also kind of helps you get health back. You need 50 in order to get one hit point back.
Yeah.
But the game was really fun. What I meant by earlier is there's also a crawling feature, in which allows you to crawl into tight surfaces and all that. Like in Crash.
You did it in Crash once as well.
I did it in Crash too. And I'm kind of like that. Sometimes I'll just fuck around in the game.
Oh, so. Let's explore. Let's do it really fucking slowly.
So I was messing with Marcelo a little bit.
You got a lot done though in the time that we were playing, so...
Minus my fucking around there.
Yeah.
But it has you collecting stuff, and for this first part of the game, that's what we basically had to collect 20 of these,
The precursor... No, the
Power cells.
Power cells.
Yeah.
The precursor orbs are the little egg-looking...
Yeah, precursor orbs, in which...
The Wumpa fruit says, if you will.
Yeah, and you have to collect 20. For this mission, we had to collect 20 of them. I didn't quite get 20. I got 17 though.
You were close. I mean, again, that's a good small chunk of the game. You would already have been about a third-ish of the way done. Right then and there. The cool thing about this game, like I was saying earlier, it's one of the first. Well, before we get into the exploration, let's let me iron out some more of the controls. Essentially, it's spinning like Crash. It's punching, just a straight punch like that. You kind of jet a little forward as well when you do it. Now, what's a cool thing, if you combine the punch and I think you hit circle, you can do an uppercut, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, and then you can also do a roll, but if you also add a jump, you get a much further jump, and that helps you clear.
Hitting the crouch button while walking goes into a roll, and then
goes into
jump.
A roll, and then
it's kind of Mario in that way.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It kind of took a little bit getting used to, because I don't know, just with the camera and all that, it kind of was messing me up a little bit, but I got a hang of it, so.
Yeah, oh, there goes that car alarm again. Nice. So,
Who is breaking into that car?
So,
I hope there's something in there worth stealing, because, Jesus.
Lost my train of thought there. Controls. So, controls really good. I was gonna say about the camera. Yeah, so the camera might be a little wonky for people, for newcomers, probably because it's their first game, obviously, with a free roaming camera. All the Crash games they've done have a fixed camera angle. So this is the first time that the camera in a Naughty Dog game is controllable. So they still pull it off really well for what it's worth. So it's not the worst. It's not like the camera gets stuck and jitters around everywhere or anything like that.
Yeah, and even in newer games, the camera, free roaming camera can be kind of a hassle.
Yeah.
Especially with third-person games a lot of the times. Especially if you're not good at controlling the camera. I don't really have that much of a problem with that. I'm usually pretty alright with with controlling the camera and all that. So.
But the cool thing about this game is the exploration. Let's get to that now. Like we were saying, first open world, one of the first. I'm not sure if it's the first. It could be one of the first. It could be the first, but as I know it, it's one of the first open world platformers because there are no load times. You've got your different areas, or if anything, there are very, very, very few load times, and even if there are any load times, they're actually like really fucking fast. Like when you die and Daxter says something over your fucking corpse, but
Daxter's kind of an ass.
blink of an eye and you're like already back in the game. Like you're at your starting point. There are no discernible checkpoints, which is something that I thought was a little odd because you don't know where you're gonna end up essentially, because there's no kind of familiar landmark, like in terms of some kind of detail in the ground that lets you know, oh, this is a point where you could end up returning to if you die. There's really nothing like that. There's no indicator of where a checkpoint could be. There's no checkpoint thing pops up whenever you get to. They're essentially invisible. That's fine. I never really cared when I was first playing, but I do kind of wish they gave some kind of a discernible checkpoint. That way you at least know, oh, that's where I'll end up if I die or something. I don't know. Not that it's confusing or anything like that per se, but I mean, just something that's there that you know, oh, okay, would have been nice, but I mean, whatever. It's more of a nitpick than anything else. But the game's divided, and it's not like Breath of the Wild, how Breath of the Wild is just like a big place, explore everywhere. It's more of, it's like baby steps to that. Again, this game could be like the birth of those kinds of, like we wouldn't have Breath of the Wild in its form the way Nintendo did it if Naughty Dog didn't do Jack the way they did it. Because,
which, by the way,
arguably,
I still have not gotten a Switch or Breath of the Wild yet. So
you took Breath of the Wild. It's on Wii U. It's on Wii U.
I'll see.
You need to play it. It's really fun. I think you played Wind Waker. I think and you even played Skyward Sword and said you liked it. So I think you're gonna like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I still have to play Twilight Princess. I think I returned it to Chase though. Anyway, back to topic.
Yeah. So, the game is, setting-wise, it is split into chunks, but everything is interconnected to where, again, no loading time, so you can just flow through. The music changes, and you're in one area, you're in the beach. You go back to the main village. You can go to the jungle, and that's the first part of and there's lots to do. You can find. It's mission-based. People need you to, that classic, bring me how many ever number of somethings, and I'll give you.
Or go do this, and I'll give you exactly what the hell you need.
Yeah, it's one of
very
those.
video gamey.
Yeah, so.
And I was like, wow, wow, this is actually pretty useful. I'll do shit. Not like in real life, in which they don't really give you anything. And it's like, wow, that was a fucking waste of my time.
So, but no, it's really cool. I mean, it's classic. I for one really dig that. So it's like, okay, again, super much more gameplay driven. And then once there's like a transition where when you get the 20 orbs, you have to ride this little vehicle across lava. That in itself, fucking phone ringing. That in itself is its own little not mini game but little dealio where you're going through until you get to the next area where everything else awaits you, and then you go through. So yeah, you ride the little thing across the lava, and then you can go to the next area where there's a bunch more areas waiting for you. So they are still levels, but you don't jump through a portal or have a world map like the first Crash game to access them. They're all there for you. You just go walking around and you do it. That's really cool. So there's a lot to do. There's little mini game-ish things like the fishing thing you did.
Oh yeah, that fishing game was just.
Did you didn't beat that one, did you?
No, I didn't beat that one. The guy is too demanding.
So there are some mini game-ish things there, but for the most part, it's exploring. It's collecting. What are they called? Precursor orbs. It's stuff like that. But it is really fun. There is a certain whimsy to it, so I like it a lot. Aesthetics.
Aesthetics. The aesthetics are very cartoony and obviously very kind of inspired by Crash a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more mature looking than Crash a little bit, especially as the games do go on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of change in the art style to make it look more mature.
It is very weird in that sense because the first game is its own little enigma because the Jak series actually does span beyond the trilogy. It's Jak 2, Jak 3, a racing game, Jak X, some spin-off on the PS2 called The Lost Frontier, something like that. Jak made an appearance in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Which is just basically a rip-off
PlayStation version of Smash Brothers.
Yeah, rip-off Smash.
It's pretty fun though, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
What else? He was in this fucking one of those motion gimmicky games where it's a crossover between him, Ratchet, and Sly. So that's really funny that I brought those up earlier. And in all those depictions, it's what they introduce in 2 onward, which is the more mature, edgy Jak, the cyberpunkish looking, attire, and those kinds of characters as well, who are not at all in this first game. So,
so in this first game, it's kind of
very more Crash inspired.
Not a little bit more mature, but not by much. And then we take a look at the box cover.
Oh yeah. We'll actually throw up a picture of the original PS2 box art right here. And I saw it earlier, so I kind of know what I can say about it. It's very PS2-y, very platformery. You got your character on the front, they're doing a cool little pose, and then you got like some stuff in the background. For this one, as you can see, this is the Jak that everyone knows now. That's the more edgy Jak introduced in 2. Actually, that's taken from the 3rd game, as you can see. But that stuff is introduced in 2. So that's a whole other thing altogether. We'd have to review the 2nd game to do that. But
he even has a badass goatee. Not in the first game though. I don't think.
No, not in the first game. He lets his hair down and like flows down behind him. And he's got his little goatee. More edgy. But no, yeah. So for this game, the aesthetics very cartoony, very bright and colorful, very much like Crash. Charles and Billis, who did the artwork and the concept art for the characters and I think some environments, or mainly characters. He's mainly a character concept artist for Crash and all of that, and for Spyro. Here for Jak and Daxter. So it's really cool. It's just really cool to see how they went from one art style to another, and it works. They look really cool. They're kind of like Link, very elf-like in nature. They got fucking long ass pointy ears, and their proportions are very wonky. But I don't know, it's really funny. It's cool. It's it's appealing to kids.
So,
essentially. Soundtrack. What do you remember from the soundtrack?
I don't really remember much. I didn't really spend that much time hearing the soundtrack, if I am to be honest. It was kind of more like it did its job. But,
it was just very much in the background. It doesn't so much as bring out you're adventuring. So this soundtrack is still composed by Josh Mansell, who did the soundtracks for Crash 1, 2, 3, and CTR. So he also did pretty much all of the Jak series and Jak's racing game, I think, as well, I believe. But his sound is still present. He doesn't use the exact same instruments and sound clips and whatnot as he did in Crash, but you can still hear the Josh Mansell-ness in the soundtrack. Very much more laid back in tone. If you listen to Sentinel Beach, the beach area you were in, if you listen to the Jungle, the Forbidden Jungle, it's very more downplayed. It's not as bombastic and upbeat and super catchy. As the beat is catchy and the rhythm is catchy, but it's not exactly something you're gonna remember by heart in terms of how the melody plays.
Right.
That's really for Crash. The way he composed Crash's music, that's more you can, if you hum something to me that's from Crash, I can probably tell you what game it's from and what level it is. But from Jak, it's very more atmospheric than anything else.
Yeah.
So
it does its job,
but it's still good. I actually, what we're listening to right now, I think, is Sentinel Beach, so you can hear that, and it sounds really cool. Not much to say. It's Josh Mansell. He still did some really good music. So on to the characters. Last but not least. So.
All right. So I remember Daxter a little bit more. He's kind of like that cool '90s kid.
Yeah, he's
kind of attitude.
He's the loudmouth, the smartass.
Yeah.
Jak is completely silent because, at least in this game, because again, he abides by Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin's rule of thumb of have your characters for the most part silent protagonists. That way, you can get attached to them a little bit more. That's actually okay. Should I do it? Yeah, why not? We mentioned Breath of the Wild, funny enough. So link down below to one of the parts. I believe it might be part 1 actually, or 2, one of the two, where Chase and I were playing on Video Games FTW. We were playing Breath of the Wild, and we were talking about silent characters and how Link is silent. I talked a little bit about Crash as well, and I think I even mentioned Jak and Daxter. So that was something they determined they wanted to go with as far back as Crash. You know, keep the character. He can say some phrases or grunt or whatever here and there, but for the most part, no full sentences. Because that kind of tags on a specific personality depending on how the actor plays it, what kinds of things the character says, stuff like that, which isn't explored until Jak 2. You know, as people know him now, he isn't a silent protagonist, but he started out that way in this game. So very much also a Crash carryover. So he's not as wacky or zany or crazy as Crash. He's very much the straight man to Daxter's, you know, crazy persona. Daxter's the one people are gonna know the most just because of how he's the more like, you know, he's got the zippy animations, the fucking the comebacks, the one-liners, stuff like that, the snarky comments on, you know, where Jak should go or what he should do or avoiding enemies and stuff like that. But you also got Kira, who is Samus's daughter, who helps out Jak with getting. She's like an engineer, so she builds the gizmos and vehicles and stuff that Jak uses throughout the game for the most part, and also obviously becomes his love interest later on. And we got Samus. We have the other sages as well, which you don't actually see until the end of the game, because they all are revealed to have gone missing, but you don't actually see them / free them until like the very end. So they're just kind of there. They're Samus being a sage himself talks them up like, oh, you might meet them along your way, because they have to, you know, turn on portals and stuff for you to get to other areas and whatnot. Yeah, not so much. That's kind of not really what ends up happening, at least from my memory. I did, mind you, 100% this game, but that was a long time ago, so it's gonna be a while. It's gonna take some like thinking to like remember shit, like what happens, especially like near the end of the game. But that's off memory. The characters for the most part though are pretty cool. That's just like the main / secondary cast. Then you got all the other fucking supporting, like, oh, the little old lady who wants you to protect some bird, get the bird egg down from the cliffside in the beach. And then there's the mayor who wants you to
help him get reelected.
Yeah, and get power running throughout the village again. And then you got like,
but mainly get reelected.
Mainly, yeah. And then you got not so much as a character. Well, he is a character, but you saw the hell was his name? That skull dude with Dr. Claw's voice.
Oh yeah.
I'm forgetting the goddamn dude's name, but right here I guess. But he I mean, he's not so much of a character in the first game. He's just like, bring me orbs, and with that, it's that voice. And then you get his eyes are power cells. He has a slightly biggerish role in the second game, and I'm not even sure because I haven't played the third game if he's even in the third game. But so that's when I say character. He is a reoccurring entity, as it were. But he's pretty cool, and he's just kind of there to be like, okay, I got some extra shit, but you have to give me shit before I give you that shit. That's about it, though. Yeah, no, it's a really fun game, don't get us wrong. It seems like we're kind of lost for words, but the game is really cool. Like I said, 100%ed the first game. I'm still on the second game as it is right now. But it's very fun, and I do wish I got into it when I was a kid, because I did see the ads in the magazines and whatnot, but I just never got around to playing them. So, verdicts, what did you think of this game, and what would you rate it?
I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. It was a fun game.
Would you return to it?
I probably would.
I give it a 4, probably a 4 out of 5. It was really fun. There are still some things, like, funny enough with the camera, you can't aim up or down. That's something we didn't even think to talk about when bringing up the camera initially. You can't aim up or down, which gets a little annoying, especially when you come across some of the more vertical areas, like there's like a snow region with some vertical-ish areas and exploring. So you're kind of using the camera stick, wanting to try and go up and down, and you can't really do that. And they didn't actually fix that, in the other games either. Like, at least as far as I know, in Jak 2, they did not give the camera an up or down angle, but I'm not sure if they did it for Jak 3 or not.
Well, let us know.
It's stuff like that. Like, there's some stuff that could be ironed out. The characters' looks, like, visually, for what they look like the aesthetics of them are cool. The visuals and the graphics obviously scream early PS2. Thank God, though, I can obviously say they got better in Jak 2. All you have to do is just look at the in-game cinematics. Comparing from Jak 1 to Jak 2, they got a lot better. So that's good to see. But yeah, it's small things here and there that if they could have fixed it, whatever. But the games are cool. This first game, fun, really cool. Introduction to a new IP for Naughty Dog, and obviously it took off, so did really well. It's a good game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. What did you guys think of it? Let us know down below in the comments. But as it is, I'm Marcelo.
And I'm Wes.
And thank you guys for watching the first episode of Trash Talk E3. Episode 1 of Arc 7. I almost said E3. I was starting to say E3. No.
How dare you?